10 days before he died, Carl Jung finished a book that was unlike anything he had written before.
I remember that my grandfather has been a doctor. And
for most of his life, Jung spoke to scholars. His writing was complex, dense, and not easy to access. He spent decades exploring dreams, symbols, and the mysterious parts of the human mind. But his ideas stayed mostly within academic circles. But then, in his 80s, he had a dream. In it, he wasn't speaking to doctors or philosophers. He was speaking to ordinary people, and they were listening. That dream changed everything. For the first and only time, Jung set out to write a book for everyone. No technical terms, no lectures, just a clear explanation of what he believed to be one of the most important truths of human life.
My relation to reality was not particularly brilliant. I was often at variance with the reality of things. There are so many indications that one doesn't know what one sees.
That our dreams are messages from a part of us we never notice, yet which shapes everything we do. And if we learn to listen, we don't just gain insight, we uncover a version of ourselves hidden beneath our roles, our habits, and our fears, which completely changes everything you thought you knew about who you are. The book he wrote is Man and His Symbols. He finished it 10 days before his death. A lifetime of work condensed into a final message. Not a goodbye, but a beginning for the rest of us.
I don't believe that man ever will deviate from the original pattern of his being. There will always be such ideas. For instance, if you do not directly believe in a personal redeemer, as it was the case with Hitler, or the hero worship in Russia, then it is an idea.
To understand who we really are, we must first learn how the deepest parts of us communicate. And that begins with symbols. What is a symbol? Jung distinguishes between signs and symbols. Signs, like traffic icons or brand logos, have specific meanings and refer to known objects or actions. Symbols, on the other hand, point to something more complex, something partly unknown. A symbol may look familiar, but it carries additional layers of meaning that can't be reduced to a simple definition. Consider the cross, the wheel, or the serpent. These appear in cultures around the world. They are not just decorations. They reflect ideas that are deeply rooted in the unconscious mind. Symbols appear in religion, myth, art, and most importantly, in dreams. They connect us to a part of the psyche that logic alone cannot reach. Jung believed that when we understand the symbols that appear in our dreams and stories, we get a direct look into what's happening beneath the surface. And if your goal is to understand who you truly are, learning to recognize and interpret these symbols isn't just helpful, it's essential. To truly understand who we are, we need to go beneath the surface, beneath our habits, our thoughts, and our public identities. This is where Jung places the unconscious mind, not as a storage room for repressed memories, but as a living part of us, one that's active, aware, and constantly communicating through images, impulses, emotions, and dreams. Jung believed that the unconscious isn't separate from us. It is us. It holds the parts we ignore, the parts we've forgotten, and the parts we haven't yet become. It knows things we don't. It remembers what we've denied, and it speaks in a language that only symbols can carry. But here's the challenge. The unconscious doesn't speak in words. It speaks in metaphor.
The fact that we're using our conscious brain only a small amount of the time, that critical decision making, the rest of the time, like 95% of the time, is what I call people sleeping awake. That means that prefrontal cortex, that neocortex, that frontal lobe that serves all of that executive decision making is prime real estate. So when it comes to using that frontal lobe, evolution has some shortcuts. It says, well, clearly you're using intelligence to make the decision, so it should be a good decision. So when you choose the fries instead of the salad, it doesn't care, its job is to adapt. And if you make that decision over and over again, then rather than take up critical thinking, which is meant to serve you intelligently, it hands it over to the midbrain. And it becomes an unconscious behavior or pattern, or what we also call a habit. So now you order the fries just because it's what you do. You don't even question it.
Every night, whether we remember them or not, we dream. But what are dreams? To Jung, dreams are not nonsense. They are not noise. They are not just the brain cleaning itself. Dreams are messages. They come from the unconscious, and each one is carefully shaped, not for the world, but for you. And if your goal is to understand who you truly are, then ignoring your unconscious is like walking through life with half your mind asleep. When we begin to listen, to observe our dreams, to reflect on what they're showing us, we start to piece together a self we've never fully met. That's the beginning of real self-knowledge, and it starts with taking your inner world seriously. And if you're ready to take that first step, Brilliant is a learning platform that helps you get smarter every day with thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis, and AI. One of the things I really appreciate about Brilliant is how uniquely effective each lesson is. Instead of overwhelming you with jargon or theory, their lessons break complex ideas into simple, engaging challenges you solve step by step. You don't just listen to someone else explain neural networks or algorithms, you actually build intuition by solving real problems yourself, a method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. Their course, How LLMs Work, is a perfect example. It walks you through the inner workings of large language models in a way that's visual, hands-on, and easy to follow. It's one of the most approachable introductions to AI I've come across. And since all their lessons are created by experts from places like MIT, Stanford, Microsoft, and Google, you know the information is both solid and up to date. Plus, Brilliant's app makes it easy to stay consistent. You can keep learning in just a few minutes a day. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/thecuriousguy or scan the QR code on screen. Or you can click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thank you, Brilliant, for sponsoring this video. As we look deeper into our dreams, we start to see familiar shapes, patterns that repeat, not just in our lives, but across time and culture. Jung called these archetypes. They're not just story characters, they're reflections of us, the hero, the shadow, the wise elder, the nurturing mother. These figures show up in myths, in dreams, and in how we see ourselves. At the heart of Jung's work is one goal: becoming whole. He called it individuation. It's the process of becoming your true self, not by adding more, but by reclaiming what you pushed away. We all wear masks. We hide parts of ourselves out of fear, shame, or habit. But the unconscious remembers what we forget. Jung called this hidden part the shadow. It holds the traits we deny, the parts we'd rather avoid. Facing it isn't easy, but it's how we grow. Individuation means embracing all of who you are, If you want to understand yourself, this journey is essential. No shortcuts, no easy answers. But once you begin by listening to your dreams, your emotions, your symbols, you start to reconnect with yourself. And slowly, your outer life begins to reflect your inner truth. We scroll endlessly. We work constantly. We distract ourselves from silence. Jung believed that this disconnection isn't just social or emotional, it's psychological. We've built lives around our conscious goals, but we've cut ourselves off from the unconscious, from the very part of us that gives life meaning. We've forgotten how to dream with our eyes open. We've forgotten how to listen inward. And when the unconscious is ignored, it doesn't go away. It pushes back through anxiety, depression, burnout, restlessness. Symptoms that something deep inside is being denied. But there's another way. We can begin to bridge the split by paying attention to our symbols, by exploring our dreams, by slowing down enough to hear what our inner world is trying to say. Because if you're trying to understand who you really are, the answers aren't just out there, they're in here. And the more you reconnect with that hidden part of yourself, the more alive you begin to feel, not distracted, not divided, but whole. 10 days before his death, Carl Jung finished his final message. He didn't write it for experts. He wrote it for everyone. Man and his symbols was meant to wake us up, to remind us that the answers we're searching for are already within us. Jung believed the unconscious holds more than forgotten thoughts. It holds the truth of who we are and who we could become. We reach it not just through thinking, but by listening to our dreams, our symbols, our inner life. If you've ever wondered why your dreams linger, why certain images stay with you, why something feels missing, this book is your invitation, because understanding the unconscious isn't just a theory. It's the path to becoming who you truly are. And Jung believed that's the most important journey of all.